It's the second day of the ANC's eThekwini Regional Conference in KwaZulu Natal. Now, the announcement of the new regional leaders is expected later today. Let's go live now to the SABC's Simphiwe Makhanya with the latest. Simphiwe, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks indeed for your time. So the last time I spoke to colleague Ayanda Mshongo, who is with you there at the conference, the credentials had not yet been adopted. Has there been any movement there? Quite a lot of delays in moving forward with the conference.
Well, indeed, Criselda, there is still the bone of contention here at this 8th eThekwini Regional Conference, which is held at the Durban International Convention Centre, Durban ICC in short. The delegates, Criselda, spent the better part of yesterday basically, disagreeing on the adoption of credentials, and they left this venue at about 4:30 in the morning. And some of them, as you can imagine, it was difficult for them to wake up early and reconvene at 9 o'clock. I'm just going to step out of the shot once more just to give our viewers a sense of what is currently happening. You see some of the delegates are still, being screened, taking down their details before they enter the plenary hall. But of course, Criselda, like we have been reporting since the start of this conference, it was always going to be a tight race between the two factions. The other faction is supporting former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede, while the other one supports Thabani Nyawo, who is the current speaker of the eThekwini municipality. It would seem now that the disagreement around the credentials is largely based on the fact that whether they should allow RCT members to be voting, delegates in this conference or not. But I'm just going to speak to Mtando Kuzwayo, who is a delegate here. Mr. Kuzwayo, thank you very much for your time. Let's look at this issue that has been, a bone of contention. Have you been able to make any progress with regards to resolving it?
No, because the meeting has not yet started, so we really don't know what is going to be the outcome. But we are hopeful that it's going to be resolved because, look, this is a conference, so a conference can take its own decisions, and in taking those decisions, it can do so in two ways. The chairperson can rule on a particular point, or conference, if there is a stalemate, can then rule itself through a vote. So we are hopeful that this matter is going to be resolved. But let me just explain what our bone of contention is here. You see, RTTs throughout the region, I think there's 8 regions that have set conferences here in KZN, have not been granted voting status. It would have been the first if eThekwini RTT was going to be given such a status. But also, it was going to be abnormal to have a person like Comrade Wazim Sheng, who is a PEC member, having a voting status in the conference of eThekwini. I mean, that is something that is inexplainable.
So in short, Mr. Kuzwa, you're saying you're not going to allow that to happen in this conference?
Definitely will not allow it to happen in this conference. eThekwini is not special, not a special region. It's a region like any other region here in KZN, and it should follow suit to other regions and guidelines that were given by the province on how to sit these conferences.
But are you not worried, though, that this may actually collapse this conference?
No, we're not worried that it's going to collapse the conference. In fact, we tried to plead with the other grouping that is here to reason with what the PEC was explaining. Because the PEC did say to us, look, it's going to be impractical for us to implement this particular resolution, because also it's going to affect the entire conference in terms of the sealing of the conference, in terms of the branch delegation and leagues allocation. So it's not something that you can implement right away. Maybe in the future it can be considered, but for this particular conference, it can't. It's impractical to implement it.
Are you worried that if the regional task team members are allowed to vote, that may sway the vote in the favor of the other faction?
No, I'm not worried. I think all the RTT members are going to vote for us, but we don't want to taint the process by creating something that doesn't exist. RTTs throughout the province do not have voting rights.
Thank you very much for your time. All right, that's Mtando Kuzwayo, who is speaking on behalf of some of the delegates supporting former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede, who are here, also saying that they are not going to be, budging on this issue of allowing RTT members to have voting status in this regional conference. Of course, the two contenders, when you look at them, Griselda, that's former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede. She has been the chairperson of this region, in the past before it was dissolved in 2018. And if you look at the speaker of eThekwini municipality, that's Thabani Nyawose, who is a known backer of current ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. That explains the type of factions that do exist in this region, with the former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede, being closely linked to the former president of the ANC, that's Jacob Zuma. But at the moment, Griselda, as you can see behind me, some delegates are still, entering the plenary hall. It's not very clear if this issue, will be resolved anytime soon. The conference was scheduled to reconvene at 9 a.m. this morning, and it's close to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Still no progress, but we'll continue to be on the ground and give you live updates, Griselda.
Right, Simphiwe Makhanya, thank you very much indeed. We appreciate your time.